Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to this new video, which is a completion of the last video about sampling techniques in research. In the last video, we talked about non-probability samplings and we start to the new introduction. We introduced non-probability sampling plus probability samplings. We started actually with the first type of non-probability sampling, which is simple random sampling, and we move on now to the second type of non-probability sampling, which is stratified random sampling. After we define or we will define our population, the following step we need to decide what is the appropriate sampling technique that we need to adopt. So, for example, if we adopt stratified random sampling, this requires us to divide the population of the study into different or various strata or groupings, and those or groupings we call them strata. Okay, and after that we select some respondents and participants from each strata that we have already selected. Okay, so the strata can be selected based on different criteria. Okay, we mean so the strata not necessarily we don't refer whenever we say strata, not necessarily we refer to naturally occurring groupings. No, but we create our own groupings. That those groupings might be some people who have shared, let's say, backgrounds. Such background can be a grouping of people who share similar beliefs, values, gender, age, let's say, sometimes religious groupings, political groupings, some people who share the same occupation or career, right? Okay, so not necessarily for such groupings to be naturally occurring groupings. So we create the strata based on some criteria that those people have in common, right? So those groupings are actually called strata. So we might divide the population into various strata. Um, the number of strata is actually determined based on the researcher's view. Okay, that helps him um, fulfill the objectives of the study and might be related to some cost, timing, and effort constraints. So it depends, the number of stratas to be included depends on the researchers, let's say, view, the researchers, the researchers criteria. Okay, that helps him fulfill the objectives of the study. Okay, so as we've just said, the strata, we select some members who have something in common related to their age, career, sometimes gender, education, and many actually respects. Okay, so following that, determining our own strata or dividing the society into different strata. After that, we select some respondents from each strata randomly until the sample size is fully actually achieved. The next type of um, sampling, non-probability sampling techniques is actually called cluster sampling techniques. Okay, and a cluster sampling techniques is similar to stratified sampling techniques, but we have main difference, which is actually selecting the sample of the study based on um, not based on common points. Okay, so sometimes those members of the society or members of the population to be including have nothing in common. Okay, but how we select them? Okay, we select them based on naturally occurring respects. We select them on based on naturally occurring respects. So those naturally occurring respect could be academic institutions, could be geographical areas, could be um, number of blocks, okay, in the city, could be villages, could be cities, okay, or bigger entities, and sometimes could be countries, right? Okay, so that our selection is not based on common interests of the population of the study counter to stratified sampling size. So, for example, we can choose some schools or some universities. So we divide the population of this study into natural occurring entities. Those natural occurring entities could be schools, universities, and so on. And following that, we select some respondents randomly from each cluster, and this is called cluster sampling. And the cluster sampling can be conducted into different stages. We have one stage cluster sampling, two stage cluster sampling. In one stage cluster sampling, we determine the clusters. In two stage cluster sampling, we select, okay, some individuals, and sometimes we select some schools from a city. Okay, this in first stage. In the second stage, we select some classes from each school. In third stage cluster sampling, we select some members from each class. Okay, and the last type of non-probability sampling is called systematic sampling. In systematic sampling, actually, we write the names of all individuals in the population on a list, and following that, we randomly choose a starting point, and then select every second number, or every third, and sometimes every fourth number, until the sample size is fully achieved. يعطيكم العافية.